Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Monthly Report August 2018 summary. This goes over all of what CIG, Foundry 42 and Turbulent Studios have been working on over the last few weeks that they will tell us anyway. Lots of Squadron 42 stuff that they won't tell us. It also dives into what they are working on now. These monthly reports give us an awesome insight into all the work that is going into Squadron 42 Episode 1 and Star Citizen and all the tech behind those games. There is a few bits I'd like to highlight from the monthly report first. Headway was made on economy features for this quarter, with efforts to allow the economic status of resources to affect pricing reaching a significant milestone. Recipes for all items were completed so that as the price of resources or parts fluctuates, players will be able to see a noticeable difference in the pricing of items. However, the change won't be instantaneous and will develop over time. These were previously known as the Price Fixer and Trade Slayer tools that I've talked about many months ago. They've also been working on creating new shops for Louisville and look forward to bringing players new items from those latest locations. Environmental art has completed the art for a host of smaller locations for Louisville, including the new habitation modules, lobbies and interiors for Louisville's bar, admin office and shops. The first iteration of a security checkpoint and transit platform, complete with train car, have also been finished. They've also completed the TISA spaceport interior with its new shop archetype, the ship rental store. Work also continues on the underground facility and crash relays. That ship rental store, though, sounds like it would mean the ability to obtain ships in the persistent universe with Alpha UEC to me. This would be awesome if it's in 3.3 and something that we've wanted for the game for a long time now. Polishing and bug fixing is still ongoing for Hurston and its 4 moons, and work has started on the 2 moons orbiting ArcCorp. Beyond the roadmap, they've also started looking at microtech. They'll be looking at frozen oceans, snowy mountains, frozen vegetation, and other elements that require technology and shaders to be modified and developed for that location. So let's talk about some character NPC and animation stuff. They've improved hair and head tech, which will increase the visual quality of the current characters, while revising the core tools used in the character wearables tech setup. They've started testing Vertex cloth simulation to allow more realistic clothing movement on all characters. Work continued on NPCs like bartenders, race announcers, shopkeepers, admins, and new mission givers. Soon players will be able to walk up to a bartender and order a tasty drink. Lots of work's also gone into the facial animations for all of those characters. They've worked on improving player stances and locomotion assets and used motion capture data to replace placeholders in the AI combat sets. They've also updated ship character animations to new sequenced animations for more flexibility when moving forward with new ship and cockpit designs. The tech art team has also worked on tools and the pipeline for authoring true next-gen clothes simulation setups for all dynamic attachments such as skirts, trench coats, jackets, and other loose-hanging clothing and equipment. The new soft body solver, which the engineering department there have developed, is still functioning as it should and enables them to create all kinds of interesting secondary animation effects like jiggling, sliding, and collisions. They've started work on some new weapons for Hurston Dynamics for ships and a sawtooth knife from Castak Arms as a melee weapon. AI updates. So subsumption, when hundreds of NPCs are active simultaneously, their activities need to update and respond to events or change in subactivity, depending on the internal or external state of the game. They have dramatically reduced the impact on performance of this, and can have lots and lots of stuff going on in subsumption without it being so resource hungry. Visual perception. One of the most useful sensors belonging to NPCs is their visual perception. Visibility checks are continuously performed by every NPC to assess the clearance of their line of sight between them and all other NPCs or players in their field of view. Visibility checks are raycasts, ultimately performed by the physics simulation. Previously, this relied on legacy modules of the AI system provided by the Lumberyard system called Vision Map. The new system handles the visibility checks directly in the individual NPC vision components and makes good use of the entity component update scheduler by using multi-threaded updates in a time-sliced fashion. AI navigation and cover data will not be part of a central manager anymore either. Instead, there will be entity components inside object containers that will contain that data. This will help the object container streaming since the AI data is kept internally for each object container. They're creating functionality to mark up the paths used by the AI to allow subsumption events to be triggered. This is part of the work needed for the walk and talk feature. Squadron 42 feature teams have been looking into triggering dynamic cutscenes from conversations, including participant synchronization with that. There have been various AI improvements as well. They worked on populating Louisville with an assortment of civilians, engineers, guards, workers. In general, they'll exhibit similar behaviors as the NPCs that already exist in the persistent universe, but with much more depth and flavor to help them better match the lore of the area. A lot of design work went into having the AI interact with one another and respond appropriately to events and stimuli generated by other NPCs or the player. For guard NPCs, they worked on designing a patrol system from the ground up. This should allow them to quickly map interest points and connect them with probability paths to define a patrol route that can change dynamically based on rules the designers control or on game-driven events. At the same time, they're improving the existing simple patrol behaviors and prototyping more features in order to have an initial implementation for future releases before the actual system comes online. FPS combat AI had numerous improvements as well, which will hopefully be in the player's hands in the near future. Ships and vehicles, so the new Tumbrel Cyclone variants and the consolidated Outlands Mustang are art complete and in their final phase with system design. There are final optimizations and polish going into the Aegis Hammerhead. They're also wrapping up some of the last modeling, lighting and material work on the interior of the Constellation Phoenix. When finished, they'll move on to the levels of detail, LODs for the interior and exterior. The Banu Defender continues with the majority of its interior now at final grey box stage, while the Origin 890 jump is starting to take shape in the lower decks, with most of the ship receiving a grey box pass. The art team is in the grey box phase for the Anvil Hawk, while system design is currently wrapping up the white box phase for it. They're finishing up the Origin 300 series refactor grey box phase anyway, with detailing out of the landing gear, headlights and other features. They made another pass on the cockpit and pilot chair and are closer to getting that area to a satisfactory level. Next up is a test of the interior collision with a character in-game, as well as testing the enter and exit animations. Vehicle and gameplay features. Object container streaming will allow ships and other items to stream out at greater distances, which provides improved performance and reduction in network bandwidth. Current improvements work is close to completion on gyro stabilized and improvements to mouse and joystick controls. For ping and scanning, they've moved the scanning infrastructure over to the server. They've also been working to extend its range and have been expanding information received from scanning vehicles. There's been some new improvements to quantum travel. These include displaying the status of party members during quantum travel, including when a player drops out, and laying the groundwork for quantum travel route planning. They have also been improving vehicle power distribution and heat setup. Cooler overclocking now works, and per item power throttling is being developed. They've been testing the rec rental systems for Star Marine and Arena Commander. You can rent ships, weapons, and items all from within game. They've been iterating on their render-to-texture tech item previews for this, so they can use these for kiosks, multifunction displays, and Mobi glasses. They've been doing various tweaks to mining. A lot of work has gone into how rocks are spawned in space for asteroid mining using the existing procedural asteroids. Graphics and environment stuff. The city of Louisville is entering its final stages as the team completes the outer boundaries of the city and the entry point from the planet's surface. They are looking to modify the arrival area with a few additional shops and features to make it feel more like an active spaceport. The end goal is to have an area that quickly brings the player into the city, but it also offers a few select amenities for those who need it. There will also be a few minor changes to Levski to reflect the content added to Louisville. Although the rework is minor, it will add a few new things and bring Levski closer to its intended purpose and full potential. Both the transit system and procedural tech is progressing. They're also close to adding new and more stable versions of elevators, along with moving trains and trams. They've also been finishing work on security checkpoint common elements, tweaking the atmosphere and color grading of Hurston's moons as well. There is improvements to the tech for space landscapes, which includes more realistic particle movement and lighting, GPU spline-based lighting effects, multi-threaded asteroid creation, and improvements to the volumetric gas cloud tech. Also, work was done on the volumetric point light shadows for gas clouds, which are crucial to convincingly lighting the more complex space scenes. Shader improvements have also been done. PU-based teams have been working on restricted areas, which will be used to stop players flying into planet-side civilian locations. This is also being done in conjunction with an update to the landing UIs. They're also extending the mining feature to work with asteroids when it comes to the UI stuff. There is a strike team dedicated to Gas Cloud VFX, and they're fleshing out the plans for the feature now. I assume they're going to be working on Gas Cloud stuff in general as well, I suppose. They also began to clean up some of the older ballistic weapon effects, making use of new GPU particle improvements, and adding more visual consistency on a per manufacturer basis. Some group and party stuff. They've been implementing mobiGlas and visor chat systems features and UI stuff, along with replacing the legacy group system and interface with the new backend systems. Completing this will allow for deeper VoIP and VoIP integration. Development and integration of a major piece of the game backend was also completed, the event bus. Through this bus, multiple services can communicate through domain events and affect their own relevant domains like groups, chat or voice. With this new piece in place, they are able to integrate a fresh new lobby chat API to replace the current in-game chat services, which were limited per instance. This will allow groups and parties to have chat lobbies that span the universe. And with that in mind, VoIP and VoIP, so face over IP and voice over IP. Lots of progress has been made with the integration of VoIP and VoIP. They've been working hard to integrate the new back-end, data transmission, and to optimize the data compression used. Turbulent Faceware and audio teams were able to transmit voice and face via WebRTC. In addition, voice can now be sent and received from any WebRTC-enabled device, such as a PC web browser, phone, and tablet. A major risk in the project has been eliminated, as getting audio and face synchronized was also a major hurdle. They are moving on to server work to add player entities to the entire framework so they can know who is talking and map them to players in game. They completed the integration of voice chat client libraries based on the initial transport prototype within the game engine, allowing testers to have a multi-way conversation from the game client. It also supports echo cancellation, bandwidth throttling, quality of service, and the transport of encoded facial data. They are now expanding the scalability and infrastructure of this. Some other bits and bobs. So the network team extended bind culling so that instead of only culling out dynamically spawned entities such as ships and players, it can now also cull entire parts of the solar system. The network team has also worked on converting networked entity spawning from blocking synchronous spawns to asynchronous non-blocking ones. Combined with the bind culling work, these asynchronous spawns should allow object container streaming to work smoothly in multiplayer. A big milestone was also reached as the last of the old style game objects were finally removed from the code base. These have been replaced by component-based entities, which are more efficient in terms of performance and sharing code. This also permitted the removal of a lot of now redundant code from the code base. They are also starting the process of automated feature tests. These tests will run for each build and will focus on testing systems that would be deemed risky and prevent usage of that particular build. So it will help with their build process. We'll get quicker builds out for when 3.3 goes to PTU and Evocati and that sort of stuff. They've rebuilt and refactored several backend services for leaderboards, badges, permissions, data updates, vehicle loadouts, transactions with in-game purchases, and mission rewards, service beacon contracts. The engine team completed the first part of the physics command queue refactor. The goal is to allow the move of physics away from dedicated threads and towards our system-wide batch model so that it can scale and perform better with the number of available CPU cores. They've also continued progress on new solutions for cloth and soft body simulations with several optimizations and improvements, and continued work on moving the skinning computation to GPU compute shaders. They made some load time improvements that address some inefficient code, which should reduce load times by up to 20 seconds, depending on PC specs. And finally, the Issue Council version 1.1.0 is scheduled to be deployed. It's full of updates such as improved profiles, more details in report creation, and newly mobile-friendly features, plus all known issues were fixed with it. And that's it for the monthly report this time. Please, if you've got any questions about anything, chuck them in the comments down below. The fact that the economy is getting a lot more developed now, and they've built in Price Fixer and Trade Slayer all together, and they've started work, potentially we're going to be getting in 3.3, that ship rental store. That is exciting. That's genuinely exciting for me. And I mean, the cool stuff with Microtech, yeah, they're starting to look at Microtech properly now. We'll have a full Stanton system, hopefully done by the middle of next year. That would be absolutely great. Every month we have a ship giveaway. This time for September, it's a Saber Raven, a game package, and a CitizenCon digital goodies pack. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos during the month. If you'd like to support the channel further, please consider joining on YouTube as a sponsor or via Patreon. Also, if you're looking to get or upgrade a gaming PC, then consider Shadow instead. Shadow is a subscription-based cloud gaming PC service that can turn most devices, phone, laptop, PC, tablet, and more into a powerful gaming PC via the internets. Links to more info in the description for that, and if you do decide to try it, then use the code BoredGamer to get a discount on the service. Shadow is now available in Germany as well now, and they've just got a new data center in Amsterdam too. Thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to your comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the verse.